Hey guys, welcome back to CLOWNFISH TV. This is Kneon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And another day, another dismal Disney story.
Yep.
Because there's going to be a lot of dismal news about Disney. Of course, the whole world is basically on fire at this point, but Disney is being affected much more than other companies.
I do dismal Disney stories all day long on the Pirates and Princesses blog.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about how Disney is basically going to have to borrow a bunch of money just to stay afloat. It's pretty bad. And we're talking like they've only had the park shut down, the U.S. park shut down for about a week, and they're already going out trying to borrow some money. And we're going to talk about how their credit is being dinged and how they're already adjusting expectations. Temper your expectations, guys, because it's going to be the worst quarterly earnings call ever.
Maybe they should temper their, ego and stop making bad decisions.
I think you're going to see a company that makes much leaner decisions going into it, which is probably going to have some long-term effects on a lot of franchises like Star Wars and Marvel, and the theme parks are probably going to be pared down. There's going to be a lot of downsizing, I think, with Disney, and they're not going to be quite the behemoth they were before they went into this thing. Especially if the parks are going to stay closed as long as people are talking, which we're going to talk about too. So before we get into it, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We're over 100,000 subs.
Yep.
Thank you. We don't always talk about dismal Disney news, but there sure as hell is a lot of it these days. Obviously, the stock dropping off a freaking cliff, and I actually expect it to go lower. I was joking. I said, well, when it gets down to like $75, it might actually get down to $75 this week.
Yeah.
It's looking pretty bad. They're already, look how far it's fallen. It was like $160 last fall when Disney Plus launched.
It was a lot. It was really high, and now it's like almost half of what it was.
Yeah, they're saying, I think they said that the drop has been like 40% or some ridiculousness.
It's a lot.
So, anyway, let's just look at some of these dismal stories here. So the closures could cost $500 million in lost theme park admission revenue. This is low.
I think that's just for Disneyland.
That's just Disneyland?
I think it's just Disneyland.
Let's see. OC. Yeah. Okay. So Disneyland doesn't generate as much revenue as Disney World does, and I think everybody is figuring low. I think it's going to cost Disney billions of dollars to keep all these parks closed, because we're seeing that how Disney said, hey, we're going to open up on April 1st.
Oh, and then people like us kept saying that wasn't going to happen, and people slammed us for saying it.
Yeah. Hey guys, this is one of those cases where I actually hate being right, because we know how many jobs are going to be lost. In fact, I looked at the front page of the Orlando Sentinel today. I get the digital version of it, and the front page is all bad news. Florida job losses, schools, seniors aren't going to have their proms, people getting tested for that thing we can't talk about. It's just all really bad news. But now this seems to confirm that Disney is going to stay closed at least until May. At least until May, probably longer. Disney Springs hotels, select Disney Springs hotels extending closure through April 30th.
Yep.
Okay, so that's a whole nother month and a half.
Yeah, these are the good neighbor hotels. They're like the ones that they have around Disney Springs area that you can, stay there. They're better prices. But they have shuttles to the parks and things like that. They're shutting down until, some of them are shutting down to April 30th. Yeah,
and this is actually the one we were going to stay at. We were going to go a couple of weeks ago, check out the opening of Mickey and Minnie's. And we had, you were already sick.
I had an ear issue. I didn't want to fly.
And we kind of had a bad feeling about it, and we didn't go. So this is actually the hotel we were going to stay at, was Disney Springs, and it's closed down through April 30th. If they're closing until April 30th, and all these Disney Springs restaurants are laying off staff, and they're terminating people who have been working at Epcot for like 25 years, do you really think they're going to open on April 1st?
Yeah, I know.
It's not going to happen. In fact, I'm hearing people say it could even go like mid-June.
Well, people were saying, I know in the Discord, one person was saying about, I happened to stop in for a second, saw it, that he hasn't gotten a schedule at all, and they're not being told anything.
Yeah, it's not going to open up.
So...
It's not. It's horrible because there's so many people that are going to be out of work for a long time.
Disney said they'd pay to the end of March. They didn't say what they were going to do after March.
Right. And already there are problems in states that have closed business, non-essential businesses. Like here in Pennsylvania, we're getting slammed. Unemployment's getting slammed. 50,000 people in one day tried filing on Monday, and I guess there's more on Tuesday because they're shutting everything down. You said GameStop. They finally made them shut down.
I put it up on Twitter, but yeah, GameStop and PA, they revoked their business license, so they were forced to shut down since they weren't going to shut down.
Which, that doesn't surprise me at all. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Well, they're in a position if they shut down, they're probably done.
They're done. Yeah, in Pennsylvania, actually, there are a lot of GameStops here.
There are.
Pittsburgh and Philly,
down.
yeah. I mean, there's not as many as there used to be, but there's still quite a few. So, a lot of these businesses, I don't think they're going to open back up again. When they come back online.
Well, the hotels will, but
the hotels will. But like Disney Springs, some of those stores, what was the one ice cream parlor?
Ample Hills. That's actually they were going to put one in Disney Springs, but they have one on the boardwalk, and they filed for Chapter 11 protection. So, God. I mean, and Disney Springs in general is notorious for having stores that switch out all the time there because they just close. They'll be open and closed, and then somebody else will come in.
Yeah, and it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad, guys. And it's going to be billions and billions of dollars. I mean, just conservatively, I think nobody knows exactly how much money Disney makes per day, but somebody estimated it was like a couple $100 million a week. In lost revenue, and the parks are closed, and that's like just Disney World.
Yeah.
So you're shutting Disney World down, you're shutting Disneyland down. You've got the overseas parks closed. They're shutting down Alani. They're shutting down some of their other resorts, like the Vero Beach Resort and all that.
Hilton Head shut down too.
And the cruise lines. I think the cruises are going to be offline for possibly months. I mean, months and months.
WW Magic before, and they were talking about the cruise ships, and they said about can they get their money back, and someone's like, well, what makes you think they didn't already ask? So,
Yeah, they were going to build new cruise ships, and
3 new ones they were going to start bringing out starting next year.
I'm not convinced that Star Wars Hotel is going to be a thing.
The Star Wars Hotel was a bad idea.
It was a bad idea.
And the fact that it's ridiculously expensive, and it's like a weekend to have this fully immersive experience. It has a limited run, a limited shelf life. People aren't going to pay that over and over and over again to do the same experience. It's like, they might pay it once and then one and done. And it wasn't going to be a good idea to begin with.
No. And Disney is going to be paring back. We saw this after 9/11 that, this is nothing. I mean, that was nothing compared to what this is going to be, right? And they were, stopping construction on hotels right in the middle of building the Pop Century. They just stopped, and it sat empty for almost 10 years.
Yeah, and then it became, the Art of Animation. But yeah, it sat empty for, it was more than 10 years, wasn't it? Because when we went down the first time in 2010.
As a family, yeah, it was 2010.
It was still, it was sitting there empty, and then we didn't go back down again for a couple years later, and that's when they were working on it.
Yeah, it was because I know they were building. I think Pop Century. I want to say it opened around like 2000.
I don't remember.
2001. I don't know, but that's just off the top of my head. I don't remember. But yeah, they were supposed to do more. Beastly Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. I guess that was another one that kind of suffered the chopping block. So I'm thinking they're going to curtail some of these projects if they can stop now.
Yeah, well, Epcot, they've already got tore up, but they wish they had waited on that one. But then I don't know what's going to happen with Spaceship Earth. I think they're still going to shut it down because they let the cast members ride it on the last day after hours. Why would they do that unless they were going to shut it before the May closing?
Yeah, what was it? The end of May they were going to close
May 26th.
Okay, so if they're letting the cast members ride it one last time, it's supposed to close May 26th. Disney internally, I think they know they're going to be shut down until June.
Well, I don't know if they're thinking that so much as the fact that we might as well shut it down now and go get, before we bring people back into the park.
No,
or the rumor is Epcot might stay closed longer, which is what you were saying. You said it first. And that maybe it'll stay closed longer and just go ahead and keep it down to do the renovations and things. I don't know. I do know things are going to be different. I do know that there's a lot of things that are going to get changed in both what they have planned and what they're going to actually finish. I think that we're going to see budget cut, and this is where budget cut Bob comes into play. I think that when it opens back up, it's going to go one of two ways. It's either going to be that they're going to try raising prices again to try to get some of the money back because they were just constantly raising prices for no reason other than to say, look, we made more money. Or it's because they're going to have fire sales and everything to get people to get their butts to the parks because people are afraid to travel.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's kind of what happened in 2001 was they had a lot of steep discounts to get people traveling again. Because I know the first again, and that lasted for years.
But the thing is, the parks weren't shut down for months on end. They were shut down for like a short period of time, and
couple of days,
and that gave them a hit.
Yeah, like we've told you guys before, the theme parks bankroll is the lifeblood of the Walt Disney Company. They cannot even afford to be down for a couple of days, okay, let alone weeks, let alone months. And the worst case scenario, people are like, what if the parks are closed for like 4 or 6 months?
I don't think they're gonna be closed that long.
I think May or June, but they're going to be closed for a couple months. So we're already seeing it's taking a hit. It's taking a toll on Disney. Their credit rating has dropped to negative. They have a negative credit score. Now, once they get things fired back up again, it'll probably go back up.
It's just going to take a while.
It's going to take a while.
I'm not going to mince words. It's going to take a while.
Yeah, it could take years. It could take years to undo this damage. Other companies, too, having problems. AT&T, they're canceling buybacks. But here's where it gets really scary. This is huge. They're already trying to borrow more money. Mm-hmm. Disney is not as solvent as companies, or as people seem to think the company is. Disney does not have billions and billions. They have billions of dollars in cash, but not like enough to bankroll the entire operation with no movies and no theme parks for 3 months.
Right.
It's just not there.
Even, I think, a month is detrimental.
Yeah. So they're already trying to borrow more money. And the thing is what they're doing with this debt offering, if I understand this correctly, is it's kind of like they're basically taking out loans to pay off the bigger debt. Which is the billions and billions of dollars they owe on Fox. So it's kind of like getting a credit card to pay off other credit card bills.
Right. Yeah.
And you're just and some of these debt
robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, pretty much robbing Bob to pay Bob.
There you go.
So the Bobs are coming. So the fact that they're doing this early is a bad sign, because they know that they're in for some serious trouble. Or it's worse than they're letting on.
Which is what I'm worried about. I mean, if they have been saying we're going to do this so we can pay our people, okay, that'd be okay. They're not saying that. What they're saying is they're using it to pay off other debts. So this money isn't going to be used to pay their people or anything like that. It's going to be used to pay off debt.
Yep. And this is kind of the warning bell that a lot of people were sounding. We were sounding, which is, you don't understand how much debt Disney actually has. Like, yeah, they make a lot of money, but they spend a hell of a lot more money than they're making. And I think I read someplace that they had this is what they actually had on hand before the crisis happened. They had $58 billion in debt. They had $6.73 billion in cash. So yeah, the net debt is $51 billion. Okay, that's bad. They actually doubled their debt when they bought Fox. They really
overpaid. That was colossally stupid. I'm sorry, Iger, but that was dumb.
And that's why Iger's gone.
Yeah, and you know why people keep saying he stepped down, he did it deliberately so the other Bob would have to face this. I still don't think so, because he did not look like a guy who was happily leaving on his own. He looked like someone who just got his balls kicked and then told to sit in a chair and smile.
Yep. So they got this debt offering, and here's what a debt offering is. An offering of debt securities, the investor receives a promise or commitment from the issuer to pay some type of interest payment, perhaps yearly, bi-yearly, or as agreed to, at a later date, pay back the principal investment to the investor. Debt securities can consist of any varying instruments, such as bonds, which is what Disney's doing, I think, which is the most common, or notes, debentures, and others. When the issuer begins selling the debt securities, the investor would know what the bonds or notes interest rate would be when the blah, 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 blah. Basically, they got to get some cash. And I guess they got close to $6 billion. And this is what they're going to use it for, according to what they told the SEC. They're going to use the net proceeds from the sale of the notes for general corporate purposes, including the repayment of indebtedness.
Including commercial paper.
In other words, it may use the new offering to pay down other debt obligations. The company had long-term debt totaling more than $38 billion at the end of last fiscal year. It's actually more than that, if I understand it. So, again, they're going out and getting a credit card to pay off a bigger credit card.
But isn't it interesting how the SEC is working with them, all this stuff? Whatever happened to the, interesting take on the money being shuffled around? And even if it turned out Disney was innocent, you'd think that there had been some kind of statement released, because everybody, was concerned about it, and it just disappeared.
Down the hole.
Now, if Disney wants to stop losing money, making dumbass decisions on franchises like Marvel and Star Wars would probably go a long way to getting some money back. Like, Disney, I'll save you some money right now. Don't hire Brie Larson to play Mara Jade.
Yeah, right. Actually, people were joking. They're like, could Disney sell Lucasfilm to somebody else? Or could they even sell it back to George Lucas for a fraction?
Because they're banking on it too heavily with their streaming service.
I don't know.
They would not sell Lucasfilm. They will sell other things before they sell Lucasfilm.
Yeah, and they're Marvel. They need the movies.
They'll cut out the comics.
They'll cut the comics. Yeah. Oh yeah. They're already trying to unload some ad tech company or something. We read the other day.
I was going to say there's several companies they're trying to sell off to try to make money back, but who's going to buy it right now?
Yeah, that's just it. People are like, oh, Apple's going to buy Disney. And you know what? Maybe Apple would buy Disney, but it's unlikely because everybody's hurt by this. And Disney's such a big-ass company, you know, who's got the money to shell out for Disney?
I was looking at Movie Phone, sold at bankruptcy auction for $1.75 million or $1.075 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was a big, remember Movie Phone? They were huge.
Well, come on, it's not really something that people are going to use now anyway, but still.
No, but
sorry,
so
I was
like,
distracted.
No, I'm just like a YouTuber could like go buy Movie Phone. You know?
Pretty much, yeah.
Like Ashton Kutcher bought MySpace. You know, you could just
yeah.
go buy it and be like,
I
I
got
good
money
this.
after bad, but knock yourself out. Yeah, so Disney is not doing as well as people hoped. We're gonna get a lot of shit for this, I'm sure, because people are always like, nah, you know what you're talking about, even though every news source out there is talking about the same thing. But it's not as good as we hoped it would be. I am concerned. I mean, do I think they'll come back? Yeah. Do I think they'll come back the same? No.
No, they're not going to be the same company. It's not going to be the same company. They're going to have to downsize just to survive at this point. And unfortunately, I do think that means, cutting back when the parks come back online, they're going to have to cut back in the parks even more. I think they're probably going to work their cast members even harder.
Yeah.
If they can get them back.
They can't raise their prices more. I mean, guys, I can't tell you how many times they've been jacking up damn prices for the past how many years because they couldn't get away with it. They even said so. Well, we're Disney. They'll pay it. You know what? Just because you're Disney doesn't mean people are going to pay it now. You're going to have to beg people to come back because, a lot of people are going to be right there when it opens, but a lot of people are going to be too afraid to go. But not even just that. A lot of people aren't going to have the money to go. They're trying to keep their houses. They're trying to figure out how they're going to keep their electric on because they no longer have a job. So it's going to take 2 or 3 years to people feel secure enough financially and they're caught up out of this hole that they're in to be able to even justify taking a trip to some place like Disney.
Yeah. That's just it. And people aren't looking at that. Like, just because Disney parks open up again, just because the movie theaters, if they survive this, I mean, movie theaters are talking, they're going to be down for months. AMC at least is going to be down for months. If everything just, best case scenario, we flip a switch, everything goes back to normal.
That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen because their careers have been completely destroyed by this.
People can't, we've actually talked to cast members many times, and they said Pennsylvania is one of the states they get the majority of their tourism from. They said there's always more people from PA than any place. And PA, there's the unprecedented unemployment, people putting in for unemployment, unprecedented numbers. And we don't know how long this is going to last. And they're trying to find ways to postpone, utilities and mortgage payments. I guess they've already approved student loan payments being delayed because of it. And as a result, people are going to be really harmed. They're trying to figure out how they're going to have enough money to buy bread, let alone giving Disney bread by going to their parks.
Well, they took the bread away from the table service. So
they got shit for that. They had to bring it back. And then they lied and said that we didn't plan that, even though all the people on the back end were like, yeah, they did. I got the letter right here.
Speaking of shit, speaking of back end, when people can't even buy toilet paper.
That's right.
They're not going to go spend $5,000 or $10,000 on a Disney vacation.
That's right.
I'm just saying, it's going to be a long time until people feel comfortable. And the reason that Disney was doing better and better and better is Disney always paces with the economy. As the economy gets better and people are more confident about spending money, like, yeah, we got $5,000 to burn, let's go to Disney. When things are tight, people are like, yeah, that is a luxury, we do not need to go.
And which is why over the past few years, when the economy has gotten better, people have been shoving them into the parks, nuts to butts. I mean, it's been like a lot of people in the park. You cannot be safe distance when you're nuts to butts. So that was my dad's term.
Which park are you going to?
That was my father's term. I remember the first time I heard him say that, he came back and was talking about the regatta in Pittsburgh being nuts to butts, and I had to adopt it because it was so beautiful. Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Dad, for the nuts to butts. But that's what's going on because the economy was doing so well and it's been getting progressively better and people are getting more and more secure, more and more relaxed and, being worried about stuff. And then when you take a hit, people weren't saving, they weren't, prepared. And it's going to take years. just like every time we see any kind of issue like this, people are not going to, it's going to be down on the economy. People aren't going to spend the money they were spending on like Christmas gifts and everything else like that for years till they feel that they are okay enough and it's safe enough for them to do it.
Yeah, and you know what? This is one of those things. Is kind of like the Great Depression, how it scarred our grandparents and great grandparents, forever. Basically, even when they had money, they always acted like they didn't have it because they were always afraid of the other shoe dropping.
They were washing aluminum foil and
my grandfather used to wash aluminum because when he was a kid, like you couldn't throw anything away.
My grandma would tell stories because my great grandma apparently ran the store that you come in with your rations, and my grandma would say about how she remembered she was little, but she said she could remember running her fingers through the beans. And run her fingers through things, but she wasn't allowed to eat any of it. But she remembers running her fingers through it because they were in charge of making sure everything was rationed. And my great grandma was like, nope, that's not ours. And they would do their job.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen. What's going to happen is people are going to cut out the luxury items first. And Disney, let's face it, Disney is one of the biggest luxury expenses out there.
It's ridiculously expensive. They said that the average for Disney hotel, a room a night, what it breaks down to being is like $358 for a room per night. And they have, I forget, I don't have numbers in front of me. It's on my article. Let me see this for a minute. If you got the piratesandprincesses.net, you can find it on here. But they have it on here. They said that they have about 37,000 rooms that are empty. And this is what they said. Disney had approximately 13 million room nights available at its domestic international hotels in 2019, according to the company's annual report. At the time, guest spending averaged $353 per person at Disney's domestic hotels with a 90% occupancy rate. Because when they have a 90% occupancy rate, they're charging more.
Yep.
And that consists of average daily cost of the room as well as guest spending on food, drinks, and merchandise.
Yeah, I mean, this is an absolute disaster.
Where do you go? The hotels cost you $353 a night that aren't like, the Ritz or something like that?
Not even Vegas, not even New York. Oh, maybe New York. New York is the closest. Yeah, New York, maybe LA. LA or, San Diego during Con Week or something, you'd pay Disney prices. I mean, the new Riviera, really bad time to build a deluxe resort, by the way. $700 a night or something.
Oh, yeah, it's ridiculous. The prices are, and that's what it starts at.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, and the economy is going to be permanently scarred from this. And Disney is a big luxury expense. Again, the parks will bounce back, but, I have to wonder who's going to be in better shape because Universal, they were focusing more on value resorts, more affordable options. You can get a room down there for $120 a night or something. I don't think
it's that much.
Some of them are under $100 a night, and the new hotels they built. Whereas Disney went all in on luxury.
They did. That's what they put all their money in. They're building a luxury resort where River Country was.
Yeah.
So
they might not be now.
Yeah, that's it. We're making more money. We're charging it. And people are giving it to us. They're paying for these tours. They're paying like an extra $800 for the tour compared to last year, whatever it was. We're just gonna we might as well just print our own money, ha ha ha. Yeah, well now it's gonna bite you in the ass.
Yeah, it's over. The free ride's over, Disney. It's and again the
people are gonna be like, you just want it to fail. No, we don't.
They got to be humbled though.
But yes, because they have gotten out of control over the past few years, and that is what our complete issue is. It has gotten the arrogance has just gone off the charts.
Yeah, so they're not the only company though that had to sell off or sell to the debt market. Coca-Cola, Exxon, because people aren't traveling. Coke is restaurants. All the restaurants are shutting down. Exxon, people aren't buying gas. Pepsi, obviously they've got all the Taco Bell and everything. Pepsi owns that too. And Verizon
surprises me.
That really surprises me. Verizon, or they just decided to jump on the bandwagon. I don't know.
I know we can get free money, okay?
Yeah,
I don't know.
And they've already gone hat in hand. Disney, Universal, and a few other reps have gone hat in hand to the president. They had that travel thing, and they were trying to beg for money from the government too.
Well, they're lobbyists.
The lobbyists that don't exist that the nuns had to call. Yeah. So very interesting though. But for Disney again to do this early is a bad sign. Yeah, it's a bad sign.
I feel bad for Chapek, I really do. Even though I don't, because I'm still mad at him for all the budget cuts that they actually called him, budget cut Bob. But I also feel bad for him because I don't think he was prepared for this, and they just kind of shoved him into it. And I don't think he had a choice.
Well, his budget cutting might be what saves the company.
Well, I think his budget cutting is why they put him in position because they knew they needed somebody to do that.
Yep.
So let's wrap this up because it's going way longer than we intended.
All right, so please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, rants, occasional dismal Disney news.
Tell Disney not to put Brie Larson as Mara Jade.
There you go, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.